Job well done. Job well done. The Philadelphia 76ers giving us a competitive game, having us on the edge of our seats. But in the end, they ran out of gas one more time and officially locking themselves into the 5th worst record in the NBA, putting them in the 5th worst lottery odds spot. And that increases their chances once again of not only keeping their top 6 protected pick, but having a chance at the number 1 overall pick at 10.5% for next month's NBA lottery night. Welcome to the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by Bet365. Along with Rich Hoffman, I'm Devon Givens. Bree is with us as always. And yes, Vic, mission almost complete. Almost. That's one down. One down. You got to do the first one. First part first, which is keep it. Second part, mission complete, Vic. That will be on May 12th and keeping their top 6 pick. And maybe, fingers crossed, bring all your great gadgets and gadgets that you, good luck charms, all those things to make sure that you give your team the best opportunity of keeping that pick. So we'll get to our player of the game. We'll talk about the temperature check. We'll check in on the schedule around the NBA with the Hawks, Bulls, and Heat, and look at what the Nets have. I believe that's on Sunday against the New York Knicks. So I just gave it to you, and much, much more. But we'll talk to the guys from the arena as well. Rich, they gave us with just 8 players, very shorthanded. They were fantastic, man, just battling, shooting 50+% in the first half, over 40% from 3 with 10 made threes. Their defense gave the Hawks trouble where they made them do some of it self-inflicted, but the Sixers defense made them do some silly things out there where they turned the ball over, they forced some bad shots. But in the end, as we again talk about, as has been the case for many, many weeks here with this basketball team, this particular group, and a few other 10-day guys in there mixed in, they just simply ran out of gas.
Ran out of gas.
The 8 that played, man, and give them credit because they went out there and they really did battle.
No, they definitely acquitted themselves well, and we'll get into all of those guys, Devon. I completely agree with what you said there, but the biggest takeaway is that this is the last time we will be wearing these.
Final time right here.
We will not have to wear these on Sunday, but yeah, this has been a 2-month stretch filled with losses in a season filled with losses. It did not seem like they were in a good spot when they finally shut Joel Embiid down after that. What was that, like 4 or 5 game losing streak with him in the lineup? Mm-hmm. Didn't seem like they had that great of a chance to retain the pick, and they might not. 64% is all they have. That's all they've gotten, right? Obviously, it could go wrong, basically giving themselves a 2 out of 3 chance to keep the pick. But from where we stood a couple of months ago, we've dealt with a lot of losses. We've dealt with a lot of listless, not even bad basketball, but guys that are trying and just continue to run out of gas every single night. Where we sit now, though, this is probably the best that they could have done, and it's important, man. It's important now. Lottery night is still going to be an absolute mind you know what, but we'll all be here together to get through that. But yeah, I think the biggest news of the night though is the Sixers. They have locked in the 5th worst record. I think they still catch the Pelicans. If the Pelicans
were losing tonight, last time I checked.
If they lose one game, they can't catch them. No. So they'll be locked into that spot, I believe. I think they would need to win both of their remaining games for the Sixers to get into coin flip territory with
Pelicans
them.
are being blown out right now.
Okay, so that's done.
It's almost 30-point blowout right now.
Yeah, I didn't think that
in the third quarter
had a chance of happening. Okay, so they're going to be the 5th best lottery odds. So yeah, a 2/3 chance. That's a lot better than what it was, and we will turn our eyes to lottery night. But yeah, I mean this is the culmination of 2 months of a lot of L's, a lot of Justin Edwards and Adem Bona and Jared Butler. And by the way, Adem Bona and Jared Butler tonight were awesome. Both of them were great tonight.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where we are.
All right, a lot to talk about, but let's start here. Since Rich just brought it up with the May 12th thing, number one, as Bree asked you there in the chat, please hit the like button. I see a bunch of you in there. and I only see a few likes. So please hit the like button as Bree does a great job. Production excellence as always from Bree. Hit the like button. Number 2, our draft lottery party will be on May 12th. It's going to be between somewhere around 7 and 7:30. It's still undetermined of what time it will actually start just because we don't know the NBA schedule as of right now for that night. But that is Monday, May 12th, here at the PHLY studios. All 3 of us will be here. Derek and Kyle will also be here. Vince, our GM, who many of you know, Vince will be here. I'm sure Chris, our social media coordinator, will be here. It will be a busy night for our staff, but most importantly, we would like to see you. So if you are not a diehard member or you know someone that may want to tag along and come hang out, they are also viewers and listeners of our show and our overall network, ask them once again to sign up to become a diehard member at allphly.com. And when you do, they will have the opportunity, like all of you who are already signed up, to be present with us on that night because you are only able to attend and hang out with us and eat good food and have good snacks and good drinks and shoot Pop-A-Shot with us. We got a new leader in the building after tonight. The guy to my left, you get to do that only if you are a member of our community as a diehard member at allphly.com. So smash that like button, go become a member, sign up so you can hang out with us on May 12th because that is going to be a huge night. And if you want to wear my helmet, I'll clean it off on the inside, and I do wash my hair, but I'll let you wear the helmet that night.
A game-worn helmet.
Game-worn helmet. Good luck charm for them to get the number 1 overall pick. We'll have the tankathon, the daily tankathon, spin a little bit later from Rich, but sign up to become a diehard member at allphly.com. So got all those things out of the way. Rich, it's been a lot, man. As we talked about in pregame, this has been a lot. But as we have discussed, especially when they picked up that win the other day, it was a road game, but they got the win. That these guys battle, man. And
give them credit.
Yeah, I even shouting out Colin Castleton off the bench.
Yeah.
Scoring 16 points, I believe it was. Had about 8 boards off the bench for Nick Nurse's team. He was just active, 25 minutes, 6 for 7 from the floor.
He's good.
He's got a really good push shot from that intermediate area where,
like 5, 6 feet.
Yeah, right.
That's the hardest shot in basketball.
It's
in my
tough,
opinion,
man.
Too, man.
One-handed push shot.
Just being like 6 or 7 feet away from the hoop. When I was a kid, it was the hardest shot. To me, now it's the hardest shot. I know some people, when you play pickup, are good at that shot. I still think it's the hardest shot, man. I'd rather take a 10-footer or something like that. He is a skilled player. Plays hard on defense, obviously has some athletic limitations in that regard. And when you look at tonight, you have the 2 guys who have been playing well for a while because they're really the only 2 guys left who have been playing for a while, and that is Jared Butler and Adem Bona, right? Who have good nights. But you also got really good nights from Marcus Bagley, who you might have said at one point might be better than his brother. No, I'm just kidding.
I did say it, but we were just kidding.
He was playing better than his brother often does in tonight's game. When he was making all those threes in the first half, not so much in the second half. That didn't really change how he was playing. But good effort from him and Castleton as well. Yeah, again, these guys did not embarrass themselves tonight. And I think that is a good note to end this on because, we talked about this a little bit in the pregame. Man, I never want to do this again. Like
Never.
I never want to deal with a tanking team again.
Never.
Like I know that we embraced it with the helmets and look, as much as getting through these games were a chore at times. Like the best thing for the Sixers once they were out of the playoff picture was to lose a bunch of these games. If you want to say that you don't like how the NBA is structured, that's fine. These are the rules that we are playing with right now. And this was the only way for them to get some talent onto the team after a lost season. And they did it. Now, that said, hopefully it's over, right? Hopefully next year, Jared McCain is healthy. Joel Embiid is healthy. And we have some sort of playoff team next year. Hopefully we have Cooper Flagg on the team next year as well. That is now much more of an option with all of these losses. So to the people who I think did not love the tank era, I hear you and I get it. hopefully we never have to do this again, because it's something that I know Devon and I certainly don't want to deal with again.
Never want to do this again. Unexpected, of course, with this basketball team. This is not something that we had anticipated coming into the season. I always stamp it, and I put it in Sharpie if you want. They're a 50-win team. Not next year. I mean, every year that we've gotten to this point, I stamp it and say 50 is a standard for this basketball team. So that's where I was at the beginning of the season. Yeah. And when we did our preseason predictions, we talked about it. Kyle did go under because I think it was the Embiid factor, where Derek and I still went over, thinking that with George and Maxey healthy out there, the collection of players that Daryl Morey had put together in the offseason, I thought that this would be, once again, while a tough conference, one that they could still reach that 50 win total. So when Rich sits here and says, we don't want to do this again, this is not what we are used to.
No.
While we had to deal with the rebuild, that was a few years that we deal with the rebuild. But even for me, when I started being around the team and covering the team from the side that I was on the radio side, I still had the Iguodala teams with Lou Williams and Drew Holiday, Evan Turner, Spencer Hawes, all that, Elton Brand.
A lot of good players on those teams.
We still had those teams that I was around, and then came the rebuild, and then the Joel Embiid era was underway. And again, this is going to be the first time that they've missed the playoffs since 16-17 season. So this is not what we are used to, and I do not want to have to deal with this, at least now. Maybe they have to get there again at some point. But right now, over the next couple of years, this is not something that we anticipated, and it should not be something that they should expect from themselves.
So you bring up, because let's go down memory lane here. 16-17 season, they had that month of January in which Joel was starting to play, because that was the season where Joel played 31 games and still arguably could have won Rookie of the Year in a rough class. And Dario also was over here for his first season, which was a big deal. There was hope after that season. Now, they fell apart down the stretch at the end of that season, and were able to get a high pick and trade up for Fultz and all that stuff, because Simmons got hurt. But you had Simmons there. Joel had proven that he was already good. Dario had proven he was good. So really, this is the worst season since 15-16, when they won, I believe it was 10 games, right? Didn't they just get one above the old record that they had set? And then you also mentioned the Iguodala teams, right? And so here is where the good news happens, because those Andre Iguodala teams, they had a lot of good players. They had a lot of guys where you looked up 10 years after that team got broken up and you said, wow, the rest of these guys had great careers. Like Iguodala wins a couple of titles with Golden State. And, we always said, okay, he's the first option on the Sixers. He can't win big when he's the first offensive option. Maybe if he'd be the second option, he'd be pretty good. He goes to Golden State, and he's like the fifth option, and
he was fantastic.
And they're like a juggernaut.
They just hung up his jersey in the rafters. Yeah, that's how good he was.
It's like the perfect spot.
Right.
But you also have guys like Drew Holiday who's still playing. Thad had a great career. Lou had a great career. Who else did we have on that team?
Spencer Hawes had a good run.
Good little run
for
after
that team.
Yeah.
Yes, he had a good run for that team. Evan Turner was the number 2 overall pick and got paid.
He got paid.
He did some good stuff with Boston.
Yeah.
When he got traded to Indiana, it wasn't a good spot for him, but when he went to Boston, he still played pretty well. He had some moments with Portland. And from there on out, it wasn't really what he expected his career to be. But that being said, that was my point, Rich, of the whole rebuild thing. Yeah. Nobody was a star, like a superstar. But you had some really good complementary players that if you put the right cast around them, I thought that if you landed, and yes, it is easier to do it in a draft. I fully understand that, in which I said I understand why Sam Hinkie did it, but my argument was always you have good players here that you can do that. And what he ultimately did was he traded those good players for some players and draft picks that were able to help you build the rosters that then became what it became. But that was my thing. You had some pretty decent basketball players.
They were good, but the one difference between then and now is you were very much on the treadmill of mediocrity with that team. So you needed either a trade, which they thought they were going to do with Bynum, and that blew up in their face.
Yeah. So they did it. Yeah.
So they tried. Yeah. They tried to cash in on some of those players for the superstar. But those teams, Devon, there was never a lottery with hopes. There was never. I get it. Evan Turner, the one year they were bad, they had it, but there was never. the idea that you can pick in the top 5 of the draft. And if it ends up going the right 2/3 of the coin for us, we will actually have that and have a top pick in the draft to talk about. It's a lot more fun these next couple of months when you deal with this level of pain. It is just, I liked how Jay put it. It is a necessary evil in the NBA when you have a team like this. And so the only hope is, right, we've dealt with kind of these 2 very crappy months with not a lot of meaningful basketball. Hopefully the reward is a top pick, a nice pre-draft cycle where either we're talking about Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper, or maybe it's a little later in those top 6 picks and we can have a discussion about who the pick might be. Mm-hmm. And then, we get a summer league, right? That stuff, this part of the calendar is more fun, unfortunately, when you're at the bottom of the pecking order. So let's hope that all of this, as I touch my tanking hat, let's hope that it's worth it.
Yeah, man. And quickly, as Rich says that, think about this. They had 3 players right there that you just talked about from that earlier team, Iguodala, the whole thing. 3 in which are in conversation for Hall of Fame. Whether you like it or not, it's the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. Yeah. Jrue Holiday is a Hall of Famer. He has All-Stars, he has championships, and he has Olympic gold medals now. So he's a Hall of Famer.
Iguodala is probably a Hall of Famer.
Iguodala, I think, is a Hall of Famer. He has 4 titles. He has an MVP in the finals. He has a gold medal, and he has 1 All-Star appearance, and he's probably a Hall of Famer. May not be first ballot, doesn't matter, but he's a Hall of Famer. And Lou gets talked about. I don't think he's a Hall of Famer, but that's my point. It was just of the talking about where Lou and Jamal Crawford, role players like that are discussed as, man, their careers and they're so unique with what they did, they're Hall of Famers. So that is very, very crazy, though, to think back to that particular team.
That team had good careers.
Yeah.
A lot of really good individual careers after they left Philadelphia.
Yeah. Do you think any of them could have achieved that level of success here? Not necessarily championships, but the individual stuff that we just talked about. Iguodala was already going to be on an Olympic team because they started to value that type of player. And Jrue Holiday, again, turning into that, was on 2 Olympic teams now. So do you think they could have achieved that level of success on the Sixers had they stuck around for a little bit longer? They may not have been here for the rest of their career.
It would have taken some good. I mean, Iguodala would not have won 4 titles with the Sixers, right? Because he was on an amazing
But
team.
he might have been still as a number 2, putting up 20.
Well, it would have been a function of, if they stayed around, would have been a function of how well the Sixers put pieces around them. And Sam Hinkie decided, the easiest way to do this is actually to just start all over. I was more pro process at the time, it sounds like, than you, and that's fine. But it would have been a function of kind of how they were able to fill out the roster. But yeah, those guys all had awesome careers.
Awesome careers. Yeah. Yep, absolutely. All right, when we come back, we will get into the Ace Hardware temperature check. We'll give you the player of the game as well. Talk a little bit more about this one and also what things mean going forward. For some who may not remember because they've kind of checked out, like we said, we saw Marcus earlier in the pregame saying, yeah, I've kind of checked out. I check back in to watch the show, but I don't watch the games. Maybe you don't really know all the odds, so we'll have Rich lay some of that stuff out, what it looks like. We'll give our tankathon spin a little bit later. But just to make it very simple to start, they do have, and they finish with the 5th best lottery odds because they have the fifth. They lock in the 5th worst record in the NBA this season after their loss, 124-110. Their record, 24-57.
One more to go.
One more to go against the Bulls on Sunday afternoon. We'll come back. We'll talk about all of that and more right here on the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. And we were talking pregame about, the hot guy just being out because he got the bad shoulder. Quentin Grimes said, hey, if he doesn't play in these last 2 games, I'll make sure after he sits out like he should that he gets it corrected at Rothman Orthopedics. We've all been there trying to push through that injury or some nagging pain that you may have, but it just doesn't get any better. That's why we trust Rothman Orthopedics. And if you saw me in the last 5 minutes while Rich was talking, I was kind of like flexing my neck a little bit, got a little tight. I think I might have to go see my folks at Rothman Orthopedics. And look, if it's a tight neck or a lower back issue, some nagging injury with your knee or your shoulder, again, it's nothing like Rothman Orthopedics. Whether it's running, golfing, or playing with the grandkids, Rothman's experts specialize in treating all type of issues that you may have. Their focus on high quality, compassionate care will have you feeling better and back to doing what you love. So if pain's slowing you down, it's time to take action. Head over to rothmanortho.com/PHLY and schedule your appointment today. Once again, that's Rothman Orthopedics. Schedule your appointment today. For more information, visit rothmanortho.com/landing/PHLY.
Now let's talk about the BetParx online casino. Devon, one thing I love about Parx Casino is the BetParx app. All the games that you love to play in person at Parx Casino, like pop culture slots, roulette, cards, dice games, and more, can also be played on the BetParx app. Parx Online Casino has the games that you love, whether you're at home or on the go. So if you can't get up there in Bucks County, Montgomery County, up in Bensalem, up there, you can head to your phone and play all of the games that you love. Craps, roulette, cards, dice games. They have everything for you on the phone at the BetParx Online Casino. So if you'd like to play, download the BetParx app and create an account today to receive an offer you can't pass up. New users are eligible to receive up to $1,000 back if you're down in the first 24 hours after signing up. BetParx Online Casino is available to Pennsylvania, New Jersey, Maryland, and Michigan residents. Terms and conditions apply. Parx Casino, this is how you win. You must be 21 and over, and if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. Sixers lose 124-110. They are now 24-57 on the season. Bulls close out the season here in Philadelphia. 1 o'clock tip time in South Philadelphia. It's the season finale for the Sixers and the Bulls. And as we speak of Bet365, we made some money for some people tonight, Rich.
See, we need to I was telling him, everybody, as we were watching the game, I wish we could. I mean, I'm sure you can do it.
Cash money.
You can go through all of the pregame segments. I actually might do this and count up the units that Gamblin' Givens has won and lost on the season. I think he would be in the positive, man. I think he's batting pretty close to 50%, but he goes for these parlays that are, plus 200, plus 300, and this one.
And tonight was because of the 30% profit boost. It was a plus 400, I believe.
This one was easy, man.
Yeah, man. Jared Butler had the 2 threes early. Dyson Daniels had 3 steals, so we covered that 2.5. And I adjusted the line, which was, I think it was 13. And they did it at 14, but I was a little skeptical on the second night of a back-to-back, knowing these guys in the Sixers uniform do give a great effort, that I adjusted it to 4 and just simply made that a plus 400 with the profit boost. So
and that ended up being the hardest one.
Yeah, because
the point spread, a Hawks -4 was the hardest one.
Yes.
It actually wasn't that hard at the end of the game, but he hit the other ones, the Dyson Daniels steals and the Jared Butler threes. That was gone, man.
Pretty fast. So, hey, we got one more to go. We'll see what we do on Sunday. That might be difficult because we don't know what's going to happen with the Bulls and the Sixers on Sunday. But, hey, we got it done tonight. So, as always, we appreciate Bet365 as our presenting sponsor. And if you were able to tell that one tonight, you made yourself some money where you can now bet some other stuff this weekend as you hang out non-Sixers related tonight. Maybe go to the Phils.
I made a pretty good bet today.
Did you?
I mean, I don't know if it's going to hit, but I feel good about it right
okay.
now.
Right.
On the back nine, Rory McIlroy was like -1. I was like, what are his odds to win the Masters? I think it got to like plus 1,700.
That's pretty darn good.
So I threw like $10-15 down.
Bet365, everybody.
By the way, it's not that much anymore.
No, it's not. You should have caught it when Rich did. So Bet365, a little free money earlier today that we put out there. All right, let's get to the Ace Hardware temperature check. And the Ace Hardware temperature check, as always, heating up, cooling off, player, team. Who is it? Well, visit Ace Hardware Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Rich, we got to go Marcus Bagley in this one.
Oh, yeah.
He had a double-double.
He was cooking.
He had 5 assists. He had 4 threes, 4 for 5 from 3 in the first half, 14 points. I think he had like 4 boards at the half as well. A couple of block shots that he got in there. He was all over the place, man. He looked like a pro out there. And again, jokingly saying to Rich and Bree earlier, better than his brother. He's stretching it a little bit, but he's really done some decent stuff in the Sixers uniform.
Look, and this is the case with a lot of these guys, is that they are good athletes that play hard, right? And, maybe they are missing a little bit of the polish. Maybe, in like Ricky's case, he's missing the polish of not being a great shooter and the attention to detail. Marcus Bagley is an NBA athlete. Like, he plays hard. He has that skill level. And when he's making his threes, which I think he might have been 4 for 4 in the first half.
He was 4 for 5.
From beyond the arc.
Yeah,
so he was
4 for
cooking.
5.
I mean, man, he was making the game look pretty easy and, making life hard for Zachary Risache on the other end. He was very good tonight. When you look at that final line, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 5 assists. He was all over the place. And it's what you were talking about. The Sixers go out on a pretty good note. I understand that they lost the game by 14 points, but they played hard. A lot of these guys acquitted themselves pretty well. And yeah, he was definitely, I would say he and Castleton were the biggest surprises of the night.
Yeah. And by the way, most minutes for any player tonight. Marcus Bagley, 38 minutes and 22 seconds tonight, had 2 block shots, 1 steal as well, and only had 1 personal foul for the aggressiveness that we saw from him on the defensive end, where he was trying to attempt to block shots, and he got 2 of them. He got a steal, and he only had 1 personal foul tonight. So I thought he did a really good job overall tonight. He doesn't have that long of a runway here with the basketball team. I think he is on a 2-way contract right now with the 76ers. He takes up one of their 2-way contracts. So, but he has been able to, again, I'm not overreacting like he needs to be on the roster next season. I'm just simply pointing out that as we give these Ace Hardware temperature checks, we talk about player of the game, et cetera, that we give credit where credit is due. And we were all kind of like, he's just here, whatever. He's going to fill it up in the G League, do his thing with the Blue Coats. But since he's been in the Sixers uniform, he's done little things that you're saying, as Rich pointed out, this guy's an NBA athlete for the things that he has done. And he's showing it. And he showed it really well. And over time, you're starting to see, too, the confidence that we've discussed with Justin Edwards and Jared Butler and obviously Quentin Grimes and Adem Bona, some of these young players. The more and more time he gets, he's firing up 5 threes in the first half. He had fired up 8 of them in total in this basketball game. So while that might have to, of course, the defense, as you talked about, and being an athlete, but the shooting is going to have to be there if he's going to find his way and find a roster spot somewhere in the NBA. He's got to knock down open outside shots when the basketball finds him around the perimeter. And he has shown that a little bit in the Sixers uniform. So again, putting out some good tape, putting out some good film for the rest of the NBA to see it, just in case he's not here, he did pretty good.
And hopefully in, 7-8 years down the line, I remember Marcus Bagley like I remember Hollis Thompson.
Look at that. Yeah.
Or Brandon Davies.
Look at that.
Or
Brandon Davies.
Henry Sims.
BYU.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not really known for his Sixers, more known for his honor code discretions at BYU.
Yeah.
Mr. Brandon Davies. But yeah, again, I remember those guys fondly because they all played hard for the Sixers, even though, it didn't really work out for them in the long run. So hopefully Marcus Bagley can use this tape and do something, parlay it into whether it's a 2-way with the Sixers or some other team next year. He played well tonight. Let's talk about Bona, though.
By the way, let me just say that with it, we want to let you know once again that was the Ace Hardware temperature check. Heating up, cooling off. Marcus Bagley heated up, and we wanted to give him his credit. Visit Ace Hardware and Home Services online at acehardwarehomeservices.com to get started on your next project. Adem Bona.
Again, really good. I mean, some of those moves he was putting on Okongwu. He had was he like flexing after the one too?
Yes,
like
did.
He was having fun with both Okongwu in terms of making dribble moves, and he always does those play action fakes, and he had one tonight where it was kind of a half hook shot with his left hand. He got it to go. He got an N1 on Okongwu as well. Again, another really good active game. So he was like having a little fun with Okongwu, who is a legit NBA center, probably a starting
starter.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
like if
going forward,
I actually think the center position is deeper than it has been in a long time. Like when you look back, like 8-9 years ago, when DeAndre Jordan was first team All NBA center. It was
Crazy.
not a very deep position. I feel like over the past 10 years, like Onyeka Okongwu is a good player. He's probably closer to 20, 25 in the NBA. He would have been a lot higher back then, is my point. And Adem Bona played really well against him tonight. And he also had some fun with Trae Young, because Trae Young a couple of times was penetrating. And by the way, Trae Young was fantastic. Best guy on the floor.
23 of his 36 in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, like, look, he just started making threes, and that's good to see. Again, he played like the all-star that he is. But a couple of times he drove to the rim and tried to score, and Adem Bona sent that into the third row. And there was one time when Trae Young actually dapped him up a little bit, like, good block, young fella.
Yeah.
And that's been the story of Adem Bona over these past few weeks, right? He is certainly gotten his sea legs. He's gotten just so much better with the lack of fouls and the offensive stuff he's doing, just adding more to his repertoire. I am very excited about what Adem Bona has done over these past 2.5 weeks. And as we've said 30 times in the past month, backup center next year, Adem Bona.
Easy.
Give it to him.
Stamp it. Lock it in. Don't even think about it. Of course, the Andre Drummond piece with the player option, he's going to get $5 million. He'll probably lock in on that. If he doesn't get that, we don't think he's going to get that anywhere else, so he's probably going to do that. So that's going to make things a little jumbled there, where Nick Nurse's or whoever the coach is going to have to figure it out. Because if I said this on this show during the week, if he is outplaying that player, number one, in training camp, in practices, preseason, and then certainly when we get to the start of the regular season, it may be a situational thing, but for the most part, he should be first up when it comes to who gets that first look.
I mean, I think from what we saw this season too, and I get it, Drum might be able to bounce back. He was dealing with the toe injury for a lot of this season. I don't want to say that did not affect him, but he was bad before that toe injury as well. I think there is a very good chance that Bona gives you a better chance to win right away, right? Because, we talked about Michael Malone in the pregame segment where Calvin Booth said, hey, man, will you play some of these young guys? Because I think they have a chance to develop into rotation players if you just give them a chance and deal with some growing pains. And Michael Malone was basically like, nah, man, I'm going to play vets because that's what I do. I am a standard NBA coach, a good NBA coach, frankly. And most NBA coaches trust what we've seen before, which are these vets. No, I actually think Bona is better than Drummond right now, in addition to giving you more upside down the road.
Adem Bona, once again, another solid night overall. Rich just laid out all the numbers, so we'll take that for what it is. Of course, Adem Bona should be the backup. Lock that, stamp that, whatever it is, going into next season. And when we come back, we'll get to the player of the game. We'll give you some updates on some of the other events that we're having here at PHLY that we would like for you to show up at. And by the way, did you see that when we mentioned Brandon Davies, did you see that Rob Wright decided to, or at least the report was, he was going to Baylor?
Some of this college money is you mean BYU?
Yeah, I mean BYU. Yeah, leaving Baylor, go to BYU. You see that?
Some of this college money is bananas, man.
But he's smart too. Going there.
Oh, he's playing them against each other. It's a bidding war.
Yeah, and if he goes, he gets to play with the kid, AJ.
DeBonsa.
Yeah, while Igor leaves, he gets to rock. And man,
by the way, AJ DeBonsa looks like he's going to be a fine player. I watched him play in a few All-Star games. Looks like a dynamic scorer. I don't want to be talking about him next year, man.
No, only for watching from afar, talking about how good the rookies are.
We could talk when the Sixers have 45 wins in March next year. We could say, all right, let's turn on the March Madness game.
Let's see.
And watch Rob Wright and AJ DeBonsa playing together.
Yeah,
Young.
Is Washington going to get lucky and draft him? Or what's the other kid name? The Daryl Peterson?
Oh, yeah. Well, next year's a good class, actually.
He's supposed to be the number one overall pick.
One of the Boozer kids is good,
yeah,
too.
The big man, not the guard.
Yeah,
absolutely. But they're both good. But one is a certain, looks like to be in top 5 pick. All right, when we come back, we'll get to more here with the player of the game. We'll talk about that guy because he was once again pretty good. We'll give you the updates on the events. We'll check in with the fellas from the arena. We'll give you the scores around the NBA that also affect the Atlanta Hawks. And we'll give our daily tankathon spin as we hang out with you following the Sixers 57th loss of the season, but it locks in the 5th best lottery odds because of their fifth worst record in the NBA. Job well done, fellas. Job well done. We'll come back. We'll talk about it all right here on the PHLY Sixers podcast presented by Bet365. All right, look. A lot of you got your taxes done. You better, because next week, that's it. Get your taxes done.
A couple more days left.
Couple more days, all that stuff. Or you got your banking. You look at that. You're like, you know what? You've done some things to the house. I need some new furniture, right? Well, now you have it with our newest sponsor from Ashley Furniture. It's going to be fantastic. The spring is here. Low prices are booming. So spring in the savings right now at Ashley so you can make whatever room in your home you want to make look that much better. Save up to 50% off living rooms, bedrooms, and dining rooms, and have it all delivered. We all like this 4-letter word, free. Yes. Plus, get long-term, no-interest financing, save on top brand mattresses, and get free delivery, setup, and removal. But don't wait. Spring in the savings now at Ashley, South Jersey, and Philadelphia. You got the money. You want to improve your house and how it looks. The summer makes things look that much beautiful, spring and summer. Got to get in there right now with our newest sponsor at Ashley Furniture. It's fantastic. Spring in the savings now at Ashley, South Jersey, and Philadelphia. Financing with approved credit. Minimum purchase required. Some exclusions may apply. See store for complete details. Hurry to Ashley. Visit ashleyfurniture.com for more information.
And what do you need with furniture, Devon? Flooring.
Yes.
And that is why we are going to talk about our friends at Empire today.
Double bubble.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court, field, ice, whatever sport it is, whatever home court advantage that they have, Empire Today can help you get it. Empire Today has flooring experts, dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day. And guys, we've all been to those big box stores. You wander around all of those endless aisles, then somehow you're hauling all of these different materials home, looking for an installer and coordinating everything yourself. Look, those big box stores, it's not a good experience. And they might have a flooring department, but the person helping you with the flooring may have been doing sinks yesterday and could be stocking light bulbs tomorrow. You're going to be overwhelmed there. So why is Empire Today your best bet for a new floor? Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way. It's a whole different ballgame. Pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks for what he was just talking about, your furniture. And it's easy for you, the customer, with everything matching. So you can match your flooring and your furniture together, which is critical. Get precise measurements taken and have all of your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire Today, you get clear, upfront, and all-inclusive pricing, plus you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Guys, nobody likes to wait. So schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. PHLY listeners can receive a $350 off discount when using the promo code PHLY. Yes, you heard me right. A $350 discount code PHLY. Restrictions apply, and visit EmpireToday.com/PHLY for full details.
Welcome back to the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show presented by Bet365. We'll check in with the fellas from the arena shortly. Let's get to our super chats because we have a few. I saw that Vinny Pellegrini in there. Rich, top Pop-A-Shot champ. Kyle has to come out of retirement now. So during the pregame, after we got done and they were doing all the pregame stuff, Rich said, you know what, let me take a couple of jabs at this. Broke the record. Kyle's record was up there for a while at about 145, I think it was.
Close to a year.
145, and Rich
not anymore.
Went for 148. And he said it pregame, feeling good today.
Feeling good.
Feeling good. And he followed up. He backed up the talk and got the record. So when you come in here and hang out with us for the draft lottery party, you can be aiming for the record of 148 unless one of us breaks it over the next month. And then we'll see about
Probably
that.
Will.
Maybe. Maybe. All right. We'll get the Riaz and Super Chat here shortly. Let's go to the arena right now. Check in with the fellas from South Philadelphia as the Sixers pick up their 57th loss of the season, which secures the 5th best lottery odds in the NBA draft for May 12th in the lottery party that Kyle Neubeck will be attending on that night. But as always, they ran out of gas. Trae Young got hot. And now, mission almost complete as they lock in the 5th.
Oh, that mission is complete, buddy.
Well,
we did it, fellas. We made it. We suffered through 2 months of just absolute despicable basketball, and they locked it in. They have the 5th best odds to win the lottery. They have a 63 point whatever % chance to keep the pick. The journey is almost over. We have a matinee Sunday, and then it's off-season time, baby. We're talking prospects, free agents, trades. We're talking everything, including Rich's heroic performance on the Papa Shot machine that I did hear about, Rich. So congratulations. I'll be a gracious loser in conceding my title to the new king of PHLY Papa Shot, Rich Hoffman.
Thanks.
Take the tanking cap off, sir. You did it.
I did it. You, Kyle, it feels like you're glowing right now. Just not with the Papa Shot element, but just dealing through, climbing through the pipes at Shawshank and everything that we've done over these last few months. It feels like you have burst through those pipes and you were out in the water and now running away from everybody like Andy did.
Yeah, look, I will be completely honest with you guys. At halftime of this game, in the back of my head, I was like, they're going to somehow blow this. After all this, they're going to win out despite people being out and injured. Grimes is out. Yabu's out. All the big names are out that we know of. And then, Marcus Bagley has the half of his NBA career to date. The Hawks are shooting like hell. And it's like, man, they're going to smoke it in the end. They're going to somehow, and then they'll beat Chicago and they'll end up in a tie situation. So once the result was finalized, it made it a little easier to accept and appreciate, the good things we saw tonight. The Adem Bona floaters, something I never thought I would see, let alone in his rookie year. Bagley, obviously a nice story, is 1 for 21 from 3 coming into the night and then makes 4 threes and a half. We just spoke to him at the podium about, just kind of staying after it and believing the percentages are going to tilt in his favor at some point. So we can finally, with one game left, to start talking about basketball the way it ought to be talked about, not in the hopes that everyone will fail and that they'll miss every single shot, but in the hopes that we might see some cohesion, some execution, some nice stuff during the game. So you've earned it, fellas. You did it after many, many losses over the last 2 months.
Many, many losses and these final 2 games at home. But speaking of Marcus Bagley, and I want to add another guy, Colin Castleton, that who knows if either of these players will be on a two-way or anywhere near Philadelphia for that matter after the season. But to your point, the greatest first half, he also added 10 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Maybe the game of his life in the NBA uniform. And then Castleton was 16 and 8 off the bench. As much as we've had to suffer and we talk about thankful that they got the loss, but these guys shorthanded once again, 8 players. They competed once again, scared the heck out of you, thinking that they might blow this whole thing. And you got 2 really good performances from 2 guys that we may not see after Sunday going forward.
Yeah, and Devon, in my recap tonight, I touched on this idea, and I actually asked Marcus about this at the podium, that they have had so many guys in and out of the lineup, signing new 10-day guys, calling people up from the G League. And it's a new group of guys basically every 10 days or every couple weeks, however you want to frame it. And yet I still feel like they're playing relatively team first, fairly connected basketball, right? Like I don't see, there are a couple guys who are in pure gunner mode, but I think for the most part, they're playing fairly structured offense. They're sharing the ball. They're moving the ball. They're cutting hard, setting hard screens, like a lot of off-ball movement, probably more than, frankly, we saw for a lot of this season. And I think that's honestly a pretty admirable thing to have happen when you consider where these guys are all at, right? Like these are a lot of guys fighting for their NBA lives. A lot of guys that are coming in, as Brett Brown used to say, shake your hand and you're in the starting lineup, right? And so that can bring out the worst in people. But then you see people like Bagley, like he did shoot the ball poorly coming into tonight, but he's still getting after it on the glass and trying to impact the game in other ways. Castleton comes in. He Derek and I were laughing on press row. They're playing Ice Ice Baby when he was making shots, which I cannot tell you the last time I heard Vanilla Ice in a NBA arena. But he has just had a nose for the ball on the glass, right? He's playing hard and he's creating extra possessions. So like, I think it's when the Sixers were losing with the stars and they're not giving effort and all that, those games were easy to get mad at, right? One, because there were still stakes, but two, because you expect better. I think we are getting everything these guys have in terms of their talent, their buy-in, and their work. And I appreciate that. I also appreciate that they got the job done. But I as professionals, I appreciate what they have shown down the stretch of this year to at least put a coherent product on the floor when that was a struggle for quite a bit of this final run.
Kyle, last one for me. You mentioned the Bona floaters and kind of how he has gone outside of his comfort zone, like some of the moves he made tonight, where I don't think that's something we're going to expect him to do on a full-strength Sixers team. I guess what can he take from exploring the studio space when you're playing with Colin Castleton and Marcus Bagley, and how can he use that in kind of a positive manner when he's playing with Tyrese Maxey and Jared McCain and Paul George, hopefully as the backup center next year?
I think a lot of it, Rich, to your point, is just he's been able to see and feel, all right, this is where the line is, right? This is where maybe I'm going to get myself into trouble. And, frankly, based on his offensive efficiency, I mean, another hyper efficient game tonight, he hasn't done a lot of it. Like, this hasn't been the Paul Reed experience, right? Where he's trying behind the back passes or just doing crazy stuff from possession to possession. By and large, he's been a hard roller to the basket, someone who's hitting you with some 1-2 power moves when he gets around the basket. And yeah, like we saw the runners and we saw the stuff where he's off the dribble, but it by and large has not been like just going rogue and going crazy, right? He's played a fairly restrained brand of basketball. And Nick Nurse said something tonight after the game where it got asked about, how do you think he's found even like the skill or the confidence where he came with this reputation? Like, this guy's got a long way to go on offense. And Nick said, his motor is one of his best traits, right? His most recognizable traits. And they see that every day away from the floor. When it's him in the gym, him with the strength, whether it's strength and conditioning, with the skill development guys, like Nurse's message to him, he said, has been, I know there are going to be bad days, right? Like, we're losing a lot, where things aren't going our way, blah, blah, blah. But you have to come in with the same mentality every day. You have to work hard. You have to put yourself in the best position. And he said that, Adem has answered the call at every turn. And so I think, if anything, that's what you have to take into the summer if you're Adem, right? Yes, you're losing games. Yes, you've had your ups and downs with fouls and other things, but you've seen like appreciable development. You have taken 1, 2, maybe 3 steps forward as an offensive player by just keeping your eyes on the goal, staying after it in the gym. And if you do that for a summer, if you do that in the years ahead, 1 step forward turns into 5, turns into 10. Like, you don't know where the ceiling could be. He's an incredible athlete and a grinder. So I think that has to be what he internalizes heading into the offseason.
Well, we'll end on that note, Kyle, because we're back at it one more time on Sunday.
One more.
Sixers hosting the Chicago Bulls. I needed somebody in the arena after a big shot like Marcus Bagley to do we got the helmets on, so it's appropriate.
Oh, Aaron, by the way, Devon said that if they had won this game and it was a must-lose on Sunday, he would have showed up in fatigues and a tank helmet for the game. So shout out to our guy Aaron, who I know is in
What
the
up,
chat
Aaron?
tonight.
Absolutely.
Committed
All right,
to
Kyle,
the bit and the cause.
make sure everybody go read allphly.com. The recap from Kyle Neubeck. One more recap on Sunday against the Chicago Bulls. Kyle, get home safely. Still raining pretty heavily out there, so you and Derek get home safely. Be safe. Enjoy your Saturday off, and we'll talk to you on Sunday from the arena. Thanks, man.
See you, fellas.
Hey, man.
You got a Kyle Neubeck live from the arena. Again, make sure you go read it. His work at allphly.com. Back to Riaz and the Super Chat, everybody, as we hang out with you. A few more things to get to before we step away for a night off and Saturday. What's best case scenario next year if everyone comes back healthy, including Joel Embiid? What is the ceiling for this team next year, assuming we keep the pick, playoffs, finals, or championship? We got a long way to go.
Riaz, there's just no way to know what Joel Embiid is going to give you. If Joel Embiid is healthy and he is the version of Joel Embiid that we have seen over the past 4 or 5 years, their ceiling is, it's like the conference finals, the final, I don't know, the championship. They're going to be really good. Are we going to get that version of Joel Embiid? I have no idea.
He did have the surgery on Wednesday. We got the team update today that it was successful surgery, reevaluated in 6 weeks. So that's sometime in the later part of May. And he'll have the entire summer to rehab, get himself together to get ready for training camp, pre-practice things that he needs to for training camp and certainly preseason, which he won't play in, but he'll maybe practice, and then the regular season. So thanks for the question, though, Riaz. We appreciate the Super Chat. As always appreciate your interaction in the show.
Appreciate you, Riaz.
Yeah, always. Let's get to the player of the game, Bree, and let everybody know who the player of the game is. Look, Marcus Bagley was really good. He had the really good first half. He had a really good stat line. This guy was consistent, throughout the entire game. Jared Butler was tonight. 25.
I accidentally put Marcus Bagley
it's all good.
as the name.
It's all good.
But it's Butler stats.
Hey, it's been a long season for us. So
Yeah.
don't worry about
Subconsciously, I don't know what I was thinking, guys.
Jared Butler, 25 points, 4 of 9 from beyond the three-point line, 4 rebounds, 7 assists.
Jared Butler was good, too.
I thought he was. I thought he had a really good balance of scoring and distributing the basketball, running the team once again. I thought he did a really good job again.
I think he's an NBA guard.
He should be your NBA guard as a third point guard. He should be on your team.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's fine.
Unless you take
to me,
Dylan Harper.
To me, it depends on the pick.
Yeah. If it's Harper.
You take Dylan Harper, I'm not sure you need
What if it's
yeah.
What if they go again, just throwing the names out there because they are guards and they're high lottery picks, it seems, for right now, Trae Johnson or Jeremiah Fears. If you take either one of them, do you still bring him back? Or
Johnson's a little bigger.
6'6"?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fears 6'4".
I don't know. I don't know. If you believe in Jared Butler, you should keep him, right?
But you think he's an NBA guard?
I think he's an NBA guard.
Right. Yeah. So look, player of the game, Jared Butler. Congratulations to him. Really, really good night tonight. Really good stretch for him down the end of the season where while it's a bad team and he's getting a lot of shots, but he still has a lot of guys shuffling in and out of the lineup who you don't know who's going to be there on any given night. We know the main scorer is, of course, number 5, and I'm glad he didn't play Quentin Grimes, but on those nights when he's sitting down, that responsibility has to go to Jared Butler, and he's really done a really nice job.
They should have Grimes try and break David Thompson's Game 82
Go for it.
scoring record. Yeah.
Go for it.
Go for it. Break Wilt's record. Go for it. Quentin Grimes getting 100 on Sunday.
Don't put Ricky out there. He's not going to let that happen. That's not happening. Player of the game is always brought to you by No one. Let's get to letting you know about a little Eagles thing that we have coming up here on Thursday. That is our PHLY NFL Draft Day Summit, live from J.D. McGillicuddy's, 111 Cotton Street in Manayunk. Yes, in Manayunk. You know Manayunk. Join Anthony Gargano and Fran Duffy for a Draft Day Summit party at J.D. McGillicuddy's from 6 to 8, and that will be on April 17th. So make sure you check it out, lock it in. Go to our site, allphly.com. Check out the events if you forget about it. It's April 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. Again, J.D. McGillicuddy's, 111 Cotton Street in Manayunk. I'll be there. I'll stop by.
I will stop by too.
Yeah, it's not too far. So I'll stop by, say hello. Hope to see you all there for that. We also have a Flyers draft lottery party, May 5th or 6th. Time to be determined right now. Die-hard only event once again, just like our event as well for our lottery party. You can join the PHLY crew and the PHLY Flyers diehards at the studio here for the NHL draft lottery party. Food is included. May 5th or 6th, time is to be determined, but you must be again, diehard member to be a part of this event. May 5th or 6th. We're not done. One more, because on the 6th, this is locked in, 5:30 to 9 p.m. If you missed the first diehard only event, Fran's Film Sessions, rave reviews from March 25th.
Yep.
You want to be here on May 6th. So your schedule didn't allow. Now you have to be here. Fran was here. Bo was in the building for it as well. Julia was here. Chris was in the building. Jamie, I think, was around for a little bit. I know Vinny was here as well. So you got to join the diehards for the film breakdown with Fran at the PHLY Studios. Food will be served. Space is very limited. Proceeds from this event will be donated to a charity as well. So come on in. A lot of stuff going on. I ran a lot there for you from the Sixers lottery party, Flyers lottery party, and the 2 Eagles things. Go to our allphly.com site. Sign up to become a diehard member. Go to the events page so you can see exactly what's going on in there for all the things that we have happening here, because we got 2 lotteries.
Come on.
We got an NFL draft where Howie always maneuvers.
Well, the NFL draft, yeah, they're picking at the opposite end
Yes.
of the first round.
Will he make that pick at 32?
No.
I don't think so either. Especially if somebody like Starks is gone, or one of those targets. They're out.
It's his thing. He's got to have some action, whether it's moving up, moving back.
He's itching, man.
He's itching. Yeah.
He's itching.
Jonesing for a trade.
Yes, he is. All right, let's get to a few more things here before we say goodbye to everybody for the evening. Let's get to just to quickly tank watch, because it really doesn't involve the Sixers, just more of the Hawks and how things are shaping out. Hawks win. So do the let me refresh, because both teams were blowing out their opponent. Chicago was blowing out Washington. Their score right now is it final? I think it's final. Yeah. Yes, 119-89. Chicago beats Washington. We expected that. And I told you New Orleans was getting blown out. Miami blew them the hell out. 153-104.
So they're locked in, the Sixers.
So are the Pelicans.
Sixers had a chance to move up to 4. Now they don't.
So are the Pelicans. They
Pelicans
are locked in too. Yes, they are locked in too. So one more thing, the Brooklyn Nets, though, are playing the Minnesota Timberwolves right now. No need for us to worry about that anymore. Care. But 71-59, Minnesota's beating Brooklyn at the moment. So the standings look like
look, the East playoff seeds are locked in now.
Including all 10 play-ins? Oh,
all 10. So the play-in is 9-10 is Bulls Heat. They will play the loser of Magic Hawks. Knicks Pistons is going to be a first-round series in the 3-6.
We had them last night leading in most of the game, and then they came back in the fourth quarter. No OG and no I can't remember who else was out last night, but no OG last night.
That's going to be a fun one. That's going to be a physical series.
Yeah, it is.
2 classically physical franchises.
Yeah.
Might be some fights in that one. So,
and then you got Pacers Bucks.
Tell Mikhail to put his dukes up if that happens. Pacers Bucks as the 4-5. And then obviously Cleveland and Boston are waiting there in the 1-2.
Yeah. But a lot of action still going on in the West where things are not.
Things are not even close to decided.
It's so crazy.
They're going to have a crazy couple days. They're going to be going down to the wire.
Lakers are a game up on both Denver and the LA Clippers. 2 games up on the Grizzlies and the Warriors and the Timberwolves. Grizzlies and Timberwolves are right now 7-8. So they'll either be somewhere in that 5-6 or they'll be in the play-in 7-8. And Sacramento and Dallas have locked in the final 2 spots there in the West for the for the play-in for the Western Conference. So it's going to be a fun one. OKC ran away with the field, 14-game lead. By the way, we're going into quick overtime here on the PHLY Sixers Postgame Show. If you're still watching, we thank everybody on Fast. Switch over to allphly.com to finish the rest. All right, let's get to the daily tankathon spin there, Rich, and see fifth best odds.
Well, kept the pick, but they fell down to 6.
All right, what are you doing? Let's say it goes chalk. Let's go all 4, whatever order they are, 3 and 4. We already know 1 and 2. 3 and 4, Edgecombe, Bailey, whatever order. What are you doing at 6? Because I don't know who's 5. Who got 5?
I might be doing Con.
Washington got 5?
New Orleans got 5.
New Orleans got 5? Okay. You might go Knipple.
I might.
Oh.
I'm considering him. Some of the passing numbers are really good with him.
Look at that. Going Knipple, another shooter. Thinking about putting the ball on the floor a little bit.
We'll see.
Little Con Knipple. All right. That's what number 6 overall. Little Con Knipple for Rich. I don't know, man. I might have to go with one of those guards still.
Sure.
You know, Trey Johnson or
Well, we can discuss that once we get there.
we can get nuts. We can get nuts as well. All right, let's get ready to say goodnight to everybody. Brady, we hit everything. We got everything fixed in there. All right, let's get to the world famous Friday night. It's the roll call, everybody. We got to say thanks, number 1, to our super chats from Riaz and Vinny. We thank those guys, as always, for the super chats. You better love somebody, love somebody, love somebody. What up, love somebody? Jay of the Jungle, active in the chat tonight. Good to see you,
Good
Jay.
to see you, Jay.
I, Gavini. Kyle, right. What up, Kyle?
What up, Kyle?
We got Nona.
Hello, Nona.
We got Purple Heart in there, right?
We got Purple Heart.
We had Vic, Philly Sheriff. I shot the sheriff. Yeah.
But I did not shoot the
Not the deputy, not at all. Boots. What's happening, Bootszilla? Yams. We also had in there, we have Riaz was in the chat, not just a super chat. We had Sal, Theo, and Superb. Superb ending to the season for the Sixers.
Absolutely.
To lock in that 5th best lottery odds. We appreciate it. What up, Vic? Saw Vic in there. Money Mar. That's that good money. Hey, Aaron. What up, Aaron? He was going to show up in the whole fatigues if the Sixers won tonight.
Not necessary.
Because the Bulls would have done something to get something done there to challenge the Hawks if the Hawks had lost. Neil Deaver, what's going on, Neil? We saw Nick in there. Vinny as well. My mom was hanging out with us there tonight.
Hello, Mom.
Nooms for 9. And finally, Derek Bodner in the chat. Good job, Papa Shot King.
For now.
That is one, Rich Hoffman.
For now.
Got a lot of work to do, folks, if you're coming in there and hang out. And we will see everybody, of course, on Sunday for the 12:30 pregame show ahead of the Sixers and the Bulls. But before you do that, make sure you like and subscribe to the show. When you do, hit the bell icon to make sure that it alerts you when it is, in fact, showtime here on the show. Great job, as always, by super producer Bree, production excellence, the best, and Kyle and Derek from the arena. We appreciate all of you for hanging out with us for the pregame and the postgame. We thank our sponsors, Bet365. As always, we made you some money tonight from our pregame picks. Maybe we can do it one more time on Sunday for the Sixers and the Bulls. We might have to toe the line a little bit, see what's going on in those other games, mix those games in there and see how it goes. But
let's get a win on Sunday.
No doubt about it. Maybe get 25 instead of lining up at 24 to end the season. Rich, as always, man, it's fun. See you on Sunday. For Rich, Bree, I'm Devon. For Kyle and Derek as well. Thanks, everybody. If you're traveling, be safe because the rain has been crazy all day long. So drive safe. Enjoy your Saturday. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, too. And we will see you at 12:30 on Sunday for the PHLY Sixers pregame show for the season finale, Sixers Bulls. Good night, everybody.
We all silly like the mayor.